Hello students. Students, welcome again to the English class. Students, today we will continue our 7th chapter, birth. But before proceeding further, let's recall the previous part. In the previous session we had read that after the birth of the child, the woman and the child both were unconscious. As the child, when the child was born, he was lifeless. He was cold. And now doctor was also very much confused. He was in dilemma whether he should treat the woman or the child. But at once he decided to treat the woman first. So after her treatment, when he was very sure that the woman was out of danger, he asked for the child. He asked for the child from the nurse who was standing nearby the doctor. The woman was also very much frightened to see the child. Then she told the doctor that she had placed the child under the bed. Then the doctor bent down to pull out the child from under the bed. But he was very much shocked to see the child when he found that the baby was perfectly formed. It was boy baby, but its body was loose, as it was white, and also he found that the limbs were boneless. He was shocked, but he was very much determined towards his profession. So in today's session we will read how he revives the child. So now let's continue. Still kneeling, Andrew stared at the child. Stared means looked at the child with a haggard frown. Haggard means he was very much tired, he was exhausted, and at the same time he was worried also. But he looked at the child. The whiteness meant only one thing. When he found that the child was totally white, then he found that it meant only one thing: asphyxia. Asphyxia means the child was depriving oxygen. Pallida, he had lost consciousness, or we can say the body was totally pale. It was becoming yellowish, and also the pulse was weak. So now, after looking at the child, he found one thing, that he was suffering from asphyxia pallida, and his mind unnaturally tense. Although he was very much tensed, raced back to a case he once had seen in the Samaritan. At once, after looking at the child, he recalled the one case that he had seen in the Samaritan, to the treatment that had been used, and also he recalled the treatment that had been used at that time in the Samaritan. Now, after looking the child, when he found that the child was totally white, he found that this is the case of asphyxia pallida, and he recalled the case that had happened in Samaritan, and also he recalled the treatment that had been used at that time. So instantly he was on his feet. So now at once he was on his feet, he was ready to treat the child. Get me hot water and cold water, he threw out to the nurse, and basins too, quick, quick. Basins means tubs. Now at once he ordered the nurse to do something quickly. He told him to bring 2 basins, 2 tubs, and also provide him hot water and cold water. Now he demanded hot water and cold water, and at the same time he demanded for the 2 tubs also. But doctor, she faltered. Faltered means she delayed. Her eyes on the pallid body of the child. Quick, he shouted. Although the midwife was delaying something, as she was looking on the pallid body of the child, she wanted to say something, but doctor didn't want to listen to her, and he again ordered her. He shouted, quick. Snatching a blanket, he laid the child upon it and began the special method of respiration. Without waiting for the nurse, He at once snatched means grabbed. He grabbed the blanket, he laid the child on the blanket, and he began the special method of respiration. The basins arrived. The ewer means jug, a big jug with wide mouth. The ewer, the big iron kettle. Frantically, he splashed cold water into one basin, into the other he mixed water as hot as his hand could bear. Frantically means very quickly. Very quickly, he put the cold water into one basin, and into the another he mixed water. And also, he found that he put that part of hot water and mixed with the cold water that his hand could bear. Then, like some crazy juggler means magician. Then, like some crazy mad juggler, mad magician, he hurried the child between the two, now plunging it into the icy, now into the steaming bath. Now, very quickly, he started just like a magician. He started putting the child in both the basins very quickly, once in the icy basin and then into the steaming bath. 15 minutes passed. Sweat was now running into Andrew's eyes, blinding him. Now, very hurriedly, he was doing this treatment. 15 minutes passed, and sweat was continuously flowing into his eyes, and it was making him blind. One of his limbs hung down, dripping. His breath came pantingly. He also started panting. He started breathing heavily, but no breath came from the lax body of the child. Lax means loose body, but no breath could be heard. Could be seen from the lax body of the child. Lax means loose body. There was no breath in the loose body of the child. A desperate sense of defeat pressed on him. Now he thought that he has defeated. He was desperate. He was hopeless. A raging hopelessness. There was a strong hopelessness in him. He felt the midwife watching him in stark consternation. And also he felt that the midwife was looking at him. She was very much amazed, and also she was very much confused, as she was confused because he was doing the different treatment. So he saw the midwife that when she was watching him, she was amazed and she was confused. While they are pressed back against the wall where she had all the time remained, her hand pressed to her throat, uttering no sound, her eyes burning upon him. Burning means red. Her eyes had become red, was the old woman. And at the same time, there was one more woman who was standing pressed back against the wall, and she was uttering no sound, but her eyes had become red. And it was the old woman. It was the woman who was Mrs. Morgan's mother. He remembered her longing for a grandchild. Longing means deep desire. As great as had been her daughter's longing for this child. Now he remembered that she was desirous of her grandchild, even it was the great desire of her daughter also. All dashed away now, futile means useless, beyond remedy, there was no treatment. Now he thought that everything was over, everything was useless, even there was no treatment to revive the child. The floor was now a draggled mess. The floor was now totally wet, it was totally dirty. Stumbling over a sopping towel, Andrew almost dropped the child, which was now wet and slippery in his hands, like a strange white fish. Even also, he was going to stumble, he was about to fall suddenly, as the floor was totally slippery. Even he was about to drop the child from his hand. Even he had lost, he was going to lose the child, he was going to drop the child, and his hands also had become totally wet and slippery, and the child now looked like a strange white fish. The child is compared here as just like a white fish. For mercy's sake, doctor, whimpered the midwife, it's stillborn. But as soon as the midwife saw that he was about to fall, the midwife at once shouted. She said, it's stillborn. Doctor, be very careful. Andrew did not heed means to pay attention. Andrew did not pay attention to her words, bitten, despairing, having labored in vain for half an hour. He still persisted in one last effort, rubbing the child with a rough towel, crushing and releasing the little chest with both his hands, trying to get breath into that limp body. Even he did not pay attention to the words of the midwife to the nurse. Although he was very much despair, he was hopeless. Even his hard work was in vain. He had continuously worked hard for half an hour, but still he was trying to make one last effort. He started rubbing the child with a rough towel. He started crushing and releasing the little chest with both his hands as he was trying to get breath into that limp body, into that loose body. And then, as by a miracle, the pygmy chest, pygmy means very little, the pygmy chest which his hands enclosed gave a short, convulsive heave. There was, as he started rubbing the chest of the child, there was at once, suddenly there was a short, convulsive heave. There was, the child started panting, he started breathing. It was irregular movement of the breath of the child. Another and another. Andrew turned giddy. When he heard the sound of breath of the child, he turned giddy. He turned almost unconscious. The sense of life springing beneath his fingers, after all that unavailing striving, was so exquisite it almost made him faint. As when he felt that the child had started breathing beneath his fingers, under his fingers, and now as he was feeling that the efforts were wasted, but now there was intense feeling in his mind that he was revived now, and so that's why he was almost faint. He redoubled his efforts feverishly. So, very quickly, he redoubled his efforts. He doubled his efforts now. He wanted to save the child. The child was gasping now, and the child was breathing now deeper and deeper. A bubble of mucus came from one tiny nostril, a joyful, iridescent bubble. Iridescent means shimmering bubble. There was one bubble of mucus came out from the nostril of the child. The limbs were no longer boneless. The head no longer lay back spinelessly. The blanched skin was slowly turning pink. The white skin of the child now started turning into pink color. Then exquisitely came the child's cry. Then at last the child started crying. Means the child was now revived by the efforts of the doctor. Dear Father in heaven, the nurse sobbed hysterically, it's come alive. Now, the nurse who was standing there, she started praying to God, and then she became very much emotional. And while getting emotional, she said that it's come, it's alive, means the child is now alive. Andrew handed her the child. He felt weak and dazed. Then Andrew handed the nurse the child, and also he was feeling very much weak, very much tired, and also he was dazed, he was bewildered, he was confused. About him, the room lay in a shuddering litter. About him, the room was just like a garbage now. Everything was spread here and there. Blankets, towels, basins, soiled instruments. The hypodermic syringe impaled by its point in the linoleum. Linoleum means floor covering. Even the hypodermic syringe that he had thrown on the floor, by its point it had stuck in the floor covering, linoleum. The ewer knocked over. The jug had fell on the floor. The kettle on its side in a puddle of water. Puddle means pool of water. And now the kettle was flowing in the pool of water. Upon the huddled bed, the mother still dreamed her way quietly through the anesthetic. Mother was still unconscious, and he was still laying on the disorderly manner bed, and she was in her own dreams. The old woman still stood against the wall. The old woman, the mother of the Mrs. Morgan, she was standing still against the wall, but her hands were together, her lips moved without sound, and she was praying. She was continuously praying to God. Mechanically, Andrew wrung out his sleeve, pulled on his jacket. As he was wet with sweat, so he squeezed his sleeve. Wrung means squeezed. He twisted his sleeve. It was full of sweat now. It was totally wet. Then he pulled on his jacket. I'll fetch my bag later, sir, nurse. Then he told nurse that later, after some time, he will come and take his bag. He went downstairs through the kitchen into the scullery. Scullery means a room that is used for washing dishes and for similar work. It's just like a small kitchen. Then he went downstairs. Then he through the kitchen he went into the scullery. His lips were dry. At the scullery he took a long drink of water. He reached for his hat and coat. Outside he found Joe standing on the pavement with a tense, expectant face. Then he came out of the house, but he found that Joe was still standing on the pavement. He was very much tensed, but he was expecting something. He had expectant face. He was expecting the birth of the child. Very soon he will be given the good news. All right, Joe, he said thickly, both all right. Then he gave the news to Mr. Joe and he told him in a very deep voice, he said thickly that both the woman and the child are all right. It was quite light, nearly 5 o'clock. Now, it was early morning, it was 5 o'clock. A few miners were already in the streets. As in the starting of the chapter, we had read that it was a town, a small town of mining. So, there were the miners already on their work, they were in the streets. The first of the night shift moving out. The first night shift had moved out, so the workers, the miners were on the way. As Andrew walked with them, spent and slow, his footfalls echoing with the others. Echoing means making sounds. With the others under the morning sky, he kept thinking blindly, oblivious to all other work he had done in Blenheim. Now he started walking with miners, and also there was sound of their feet while they were walking on the street. And also he was thinking very blindly, but he forgot, oblivious to all other work, he forgot all the work that he had done in the Blenheim. Then he said, I have done something, oh God, I have done something real at last. Now at last, he said, he was very much happy. He thanked the God also, and he said that he had done something very good, very real, and that was the true happiness of the doctor, of the young doctor, as he had revived the child who had born lifeless. So students, this is all about the chapter. I hope you have understood. Okay students, thank you, goodbye, and have a nice day.